when the brother came in and talked about a wrestling match,
Yeah, it's like
that's on there, right?
Yeah.
Good.
They're online. Yeah.
Okay. So now people, we're going to explain to you what you just saw. And it ain't nothing new. You can follow up day by day, week by lecture by lecture. We said that Donald Trump was broke years ago. We said you don't have no money. Okay. They just said he don't have no money 2 weeks ago. Oh, sorry. What is wrong? Okay, that means he don't have no money. If you're a police officer or anything else and you got debts and all of that, they won't hire you because you're a risk. You know, you got all this debt, right? You pay your debts off, then you can become a daily police. Now, Don, this is what the white folks say. The white folks say Don paid $750. Actually, $750. I mean, that's great. I mean, and then, but he owes. One group says $300 million, and the other group says $400 million. Doesn't make a difference. Okay. If you owe that much money to people, that means, what about the other you owe and don't nobody even know nothing about it? But that makes you vulnerable. Right. Remember what we said, somebody hired, this is nothing new to us here, somebody hired him. And the people that hired him knew that he was broke. They knew his lifestyle. They had studied him. If you want to study a crime and who did it, and you first go to who benefited. Who benefited from Don and his being broke? The Israelis. The first thing he did, sent the embassy, closed the embassy down where it was, to Jerusalem. Just closed it down. He stopped the 35 million or whatever the Palestinians used to get through the UN. They cut that off. And they don't allow them to, can you imagine? You can't get no money. We're not going to give you no water because the water happens to be flowing our way through to you, and we cut that off. And electricity, we cut that off too. And rebuilding all of what we destroyed 10, 12, 15 years ago, we can't let you have any cement from Egypt because you'll build bunkers. And of course over there, everything is brick and cement, right? All of there's a group of people, Iran is under sanction. Iraq was destroyed by the West. Destroyed 2 times in a row. And then, all these demonstrations in Iraq lately, they organized them, that's why they closed the U.S. Embassy. Years ago, the biggest embassy in the Middle East used to be in Cairo, 3,500 people. 4,500 people. I didn't make the embassy that big in Iraq. Those snitches, from an embassy that big, they can manage the whole country. Now, they got to leave. We'll get into all that later. The Zionists hired Don in conjunction with support from Saudi Arabia. All of them have a common enemy, the Islamic Republic of Iran. And therefore, Hezbollah, they hate the unity that the Iranians have with the Iraqis and all of that stuff. And their killing of the great leader over there, all it did was solidify the people. Okay. So for us, it's not a mystery. Don was hired by them to destroy America and the Democratic Party, and the guy that they hire have to be a crackpot to do it. A standard politician wouldn't do it.
No.
Right? Okay, now what has he done? Everything he does is a total affront to what they call America. I'm not going to accept the election. That, you think Obama or anybody, or Clinton, any white man could have said that. I don't know if I'm going to accept it. What if the king, George Washington, stepped down and he could have been king?
Right, yeah.
Everybody know that. He could have been the king. He wouldn't have had no trouble. In fact, some people was mad because he didn't. George, you got to stay. We need a monarch or something. I ain't going to do it. And the early elections, they talk about the founding fathers. Man, I wish you could read some of them old newspapers of Thomas Jefferson and each. See, in those days, even up to a few years ago, each crew had a newspaper. And they wrote all the dirt on the other crew, and the other crew wrote all the, you know what I mean? So you kept up on what was going on, because they was definitely searching out. So the great Thomas Jefferson, man, was a whoremonger, and if the stuff, it's a tabloid, the stuff they wrote about the poor man, you know? Okay, and they call them the founding fathers, like the Holy Grail, the Constitution,
Yeah, they didn't
the, like it's, you're against the what? That's why we read all the stuff that we read. We read what Tom said. He had a piece he's going to put it, they call it the 1776 crew. I don't know if you saw it. You know, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
This 1776, because we got the 1619 crew. So, 1776, they won't let us get up there. Don, y'all, 1776, look at all the stuff they had. They write about us, and you ain't put it in the Declaration. Why is it not there? Wasn't this? Nobody, they get away with murder. It's as though either they don't know or they don't care. And the Constitution, that rag, 3/5 of a person, the 13th Amendment, great old Abe, honest Abe, gotta have the 13th Amendment for the Negroes. Come hell or high water, yeah. Slavery's outlawed, unless you got a case. Who got cases everywhere? Why is it a dragnet in a Negro neighborhood all the time? Ever since then, right? This stuff is so, okay, we ain't got time to bother with them. They can say and do whatever they want. It's their business, right? We just going and doing what we allotted laid out for us. They can do what they want to do. And they can scare people, you know. I remember when I was a kid, in the newspaper, 59, 60, all that, the Oakland Tribune, they would have blast areas. They would show if a 50 megaton bomb blows up in Oakland, it would have a fireball 5 square miles. That's the fireball, not the blast area. For a 100 megaton bomb, it's a 10. That means a fire, can you imagine a fireball, pure fire, like the sun, for 10 square miles? Forget about that means anybody 100 miles away or whatever, they're going to burn up too. Because the fireball, pure fire. And we would read all that, you know, even I read the newspapers then. I was young, but they'd scare you to death. And then they'd tell you, duck and cover. Duck and cover. And even as a young kid, I was a little slow, but I wasn't. Wait a minute. And then they show you all the pictures of when the atomic bomb go off, it just consumes everything. And then it turned people, like in Nagasaki and all that, it just, they evaporated. They zapped, as white folks call it. They're a shadow, consumed. And then they was telling us, well, just get under the desk. I said, good God Almighty, that thing gonna blow up right down the street. Because they're gonna hit all the major cities. In San Francisco and Oakland, of course, the major city. If it was in D.C., it's too bad for you. And they telling niggas, duck and cover. Well, I will say that they would have you, it's life altering, because how you gonna have any fun if they didn't make the Russians, they always got them gonna blow you up and kill you or something. And they don't mean old communists, inhuman. Remember how they used to make the communists look, they weren't really humans. They was kind of automatons and Manchurian candidate and all that stuff. Man, that's scared to death. You keep that stuff. Boss man, you ain't scared nobody I'm around, no more. I don't care what you do. Talking about, you want to mess up your Constitution? You want to have racial tension in your country? Go ahead and have it. I don't care. You know what I mean? Oh, you hear him, oh my God, what are we going to do? He's already setting it up to the election won't be fair. And he got the Proud Boys and he got the Boogaloo Boys. I said, I don't care who that nigga got. I don't care nothing about them. If they're stupid enough to go for that stuff, then that's their business. Don't have nothing to do with us. We got our own business to take care of. And we'll talk about a little bit of that. The things that we are dealing with, if other people don't see them, and they don't want to associate themselves with certain realities, that's their business. If it's not all of them want to do their stuff. Of course, we always have made our it's kind of like you got to do what you got to do, but you don't want to become arrogant or overbearing. You know what I mean, or anything like that. And so that's why we always, we've been in this so long, and the great people appeal to the people. Okay. There's one thing about those appeals, though, they have a lifetime, like our appeal with Halle Berry. Okay? This is an offer. It's like, we're going to fix the house over there, and somebody, if they want an opportunity, here's what we offer. It's the same opportunity in Jahiliyyah, except it's new worldism. In those days, you want to be big. Remember, everybody at that time is little. And to bring you up on that, I had a couple of friends that had new Cadillacs and did their hair and everything. And one of my other friends on the other side of town, him and Frank Washington was friends. They was pimps, you know what I mean? And so when I first started going on that side of town, I was hanging around different people. And he said, those two niggas there, I mean, they dressed the part, they looked the part, they had their hair done. He said, those little niggas, they looked like they had alligator shoes, they had everything that everybody else had. But he told me, he said, just be careful about judging them. Those niggas is little. I'm on the other side of town, just blending, getting big, and, so your friends from the old days that knew you very well, they schooling you on this part of town, whether you was in jail together, whether these niggas over here. And that's what they said. That's the exact terminology they used in those days. Those niggas is little. Well, that's the same thing I would say to Halle Berry. This offer may have a couple of weeks left, but that offer has something to go with it. The skills that people have would be very useful now, but for what we're trying to do, but we're getting ready to go somewhere. And anybody going there, they got to be big. Okay, all that other little stuff, you have to close the door to all that Abdul Malik-ism, them, those, they're human beings, but they're little niggas. You have to get, all the people in Oakland was little. They have to be little. If all of them, including LA, including all, can you imagine a whole troop of people against one man and they can't hurt him? They got to be little. It's impossible. They little. And they got government behind them. Those people are so little, it's unbelievable. They little. Okay, now, anybody getting ready to go on this ride, it's the same offer. We always want to make this ride with us. Where we're going now, you have to be prepared. You're not big now, but you have to be prepared to be big. Because where we're going now, we're going into a whole new dispensation. That means we're not accepting any victimhood. We're not dealing with being oppressed. Because we're not oppressed now. They're oppressed now. We're not going down, they're going down. We're not at a disadvantage, they're disadvantaged. The disadvantage is so striking, can you imagine? It was just like the brother said the other day, wasn't last week, can you imagine this 2 days ago? He said, it's like a wrestling match, remember? And we talked about it. Yeah. Y'all may not remember Gorgeous George, Haystack Calvin, and all them people. Those was the old-time wrestlers. They really perfected wrestling. I mean, can you imagine? One of my friends, you know, when he ran, wrestling is a national sport. Wrestling is a national sport. So, one of my friends was going to school in Denver, and his father came over to visit with him for a while, and the only thing that his father could watch was wrestling. He used to watch that. He was just, and my partner told me, the brother, Iranian brother, he said, man, my father watches the wrestling, and he can't get it, this American wrestling. Because see, there, you know, you wrestle, you holding it
it's real
tight. You ain't jumping all around. You can't because, right? And he's seeing the guy fold, you know how they do. They take a chair, they fold it up real neat. Then they bang the guy, and then they jump all out of the ring now. They land on the table like this. The table collapses, got padding under it. I mean, they be... You said, man, that's deep. You know what I mean? So, that's what happened the other night. And we feel that it was all arranged. It's all arranged. It's not all arranged now, it's been arranged. And whether it's fully arranged from both sides, is fully arranged on one side and partially arranged at minimum on the other. Minimum. Okay. But imagine, the first thing I did was I got on the foreign press and the foreign, and that's all I watched. Well, that's not all. I watched what everybody said. 4 or 5 different news, or 7, 8. All the news everywhere. And then you deal with BBC, Iranian news, all that. They said, what is wrong with America? Not only they already got 200-some thousand people who stand up and talking about that. Then I'm talking about forest fires in California. You know, they're still burning. Yeah. I'm going to go back to California when they stop. I talked to Oakland today. I said, well, how's the fire? Man, it's hazy. I said, shoot, I ain't coming. Because people want to know when you come. I ain't, shoot, I'm not going to come back. I'm 75 years old and all that smoke. I mean, I can handle it, but who wants to just be coughing all day? And the last time I was riding on 80, I left Salt Lake City on Highway 80, and all them forest fires up in Oregon was blowing down across I-80. And I'm in Utah. I said, man, imagine when I get to California and Nevada. And now this is worse. Remember, they just said the stuff, the haze over here, up there in the jet stream, now it's over the Atlantic.
You know, it's funny. I watched the debate. I took some time. I replayed it. I didn't watch it, see the whole thing that night. But it was funny because Donald Trump got up there and he blamed the forest fires on them being too many trees in California. He said they need to trim the trees. That's the problem.
What he said was, see, I remember what we did when we were forced. We did bugging trees. Bugging trees is you go over the forest, and they got a bug that eats around the tree. If it eats around the tree, no water can go up to the top. So when you look across the forest, you see the trees that have to be bugged and cut down. So you cut down those trees, and then you strip the bark off, and then you burn the bark because the bugs are in the bark. The other thing you do is you clean the underbrush. So forget about 65% of that property in California belongs to the federal government, not the city's Division of Forestry. We would take care of it, but it belongs to the federal government. So if the underbrush is not, what happens is the underbrush, if you have forest fires are natural